Hello, I'm Chris. I'm a KMP developer, and today we're going to be answering a question from Philip Lackner. I got this email from Philip today, which I love. Philip, he's really great instructor. He's the best Android instructor out there on the internet in general. I took just for to full disclosure, I did take his table course, his mentoring course, I really liked. It definitely tied together some loose ends. I've been an Android developer for a long time, but doing that course and going through it with him was awesome. So I really love it. But that's not what this is about. This is about this letter guy guy says, have you tried KMP or CMP yet? I don't know the CMP. I've only heard it KMP. I think he may be calling this Compose. Maybe is what he's talking about here. But KMP is Kotlin multi-platform. Both technologies have been rapid development. I don't know about this. I think it might be KMM. I don't know. I don't understand. These names need to be solidified. I'm just calling it KMP. Compose is the UI library that's enabling a lot of these technologies to do the KMP vision, which has really been, I think, awesome. And I'm going to talk about this project here, SolarKMP, SolarSystemKMP that I found. Really great example. So both technologies have been rapid development, but with each new update, they have been moving in a really promising direction. I agree. The latest changes provide support for the following libraries: for Roam, which I did a video on, Jetpack view models, which I'm like, it's an Android thing. I think you could get away with doing it without using view models, but that's side conversation. Might do a video about that. Navigation Compose. You don't really need navigation. These are kind of Android specific things. All these three things are very Android specific. In Compose, you don't have to use a navigation library. You really don't. You can actually make your own. It might actually be better and not as complicated. So for deep linking and stuff, okay, maybe, but these navigation libraries, I mean, Compose doesn't really require that stuff. So these changes are making the transition to KMP much easier for native Android developers. True. I'll give them points on that one. By adding KMP support to all the libraries we're most familiar with, the entry level has increased, which I think okay, Philip is German. English is not his first language, so this may get mistranslated. So what he's saying is the barrier to entry has been lowered. So the amount of information you need to get into like doing cross-platform development is lowered because of the adding these libraries, because Android developers are used to it this way, which I believe that KMP and Compose, they're actually moving away from this, but these are bridging technologies. There's always, anytime there's been these transitions between technologies, like there's always the wanting to do it the old way and the new way, and it is a way to get people to adopt it. So I'm on board with it. Although there are just better ways of doing things inside Kotlin without using libraries and just inside Compose using just the standard stuff that we have so far, which is pretty amazing. Okay, so giving us the confidence to explore these new technologies, right? Okay, so it makes the people who are already on Android much more comfortable. But KMP is not Android. It's not even just iOS. It's like it's web, it's desktop, it's web, JavaScript, and the WASM target, so you can go to Safari. Most people think you can't use Safari right now with KMP. No, you totally can target that. And I'll get into that. I'll do a little demo after in a second here. Okay, so the KMP advantage over other cross-platform solutions like Flutter has always been that you have the option to write native code exactly like using Swift UI when targeting for iOS, or using Swift for iOS, which you can with KMP. And this is always limited to the domain and data layer, which is true. KMM was like their first stab at this. Right now with Compose, you get the UI as well. So that's the exciting thing, that breakthrough, because writing the UI on all these different platforms, that was the pain in the ass part. Come on, let's be really honest. The data domain, yeah, okay, got it. Really gonna get the libraries and different database stuff. Okay, got it. But the UI was the pain. Let's be real honest. For that's the part that's hard. Compose makes it totally easy. You do it Just have to learn one now. And just it actually is robust, and they really thought it out, and it makes a lot of sense, and it works on these platforms already out of the box right today. Still, this stuff is alpha. KMP Compose is still alpha as of the time of this video, but not for much longer. I mean, I'm publishing stuff to the stores. They're being released. I have users on these things, so I mean, it's amazing. I don't think it's early. I think we're right on time. So with the introduction of Compose multi-platform, we can write fully cross-platform apps without running a language with Swift UI code. You might have to still write a little bit of Swift. There is a container wrapper, but with Copilot on inside the Android IDE or the JetBrains IDE, it gives you the hints. That's the cool thing is with Copilot making the little changes you have to do for the Swift or the desktop or even the web. You get so much help with the Copilot. So and you don't have to worry about the UI stuff. It's just minor, like not minor. I mean, there are if you're stuck, if you're anytime you're stuck, you can drop down to the Swift stuff. And this, like at least for iOS, I've found coming from Android, iOS is way easier, like way more direct, way more solid. But for most of the stuff, you're never gonna need it because all the KMP libraries take over most of those functions, so you don't have to use them. Now, beyond underneath the hood, they'll access those native libraries on iOS or whatever. But as far as you're concerned, it all looks the same. So, which is really awesome and a dream I've had for a long time. So it says the people behind KMP, JetBrains, and not Google really want this technology to succeed. Well, of course they want it to succeed, but I think they've spent enough time and are so serious about it, and they're sneaking up on people with this technology because most people don't even know this is the way this exists right now. They think it's just an iOS thing. It's like no, this thing's all over the place. This is more than I can say for Google, which I treat it as an experiment. True, Google has really dropped. That's what Flutter that is, and also like React, like native stuff is just an experiment, which they're gonna throw away for this. They're gonna throw away for this. Everyone is going to do this. This is just because it's just like it's so leverageable. One code base and you're on 6 different platforms, and if you're ever blocked on one, you just go to another. Which I'll talk. I mean, that's one of the great things about this thing. It's like if you were if you're on iOS and you got blocked out of the store, you're blocked, right? You couldn't make okay. We're gonna make a desktop app like next week. It's like with KMP you can do that. I mean, maybe you don't want to deploy on desktop, but maybe you have to for whatever reason, or you need to do a Java app and just avoid the iOS completely. So there's all kinds of paths. So JetBrains is pushing the idea of reusing Kotlin code base across multiple platforms by keeping code native if needed. Right. That's one of the sweet things about how they set it up is you have all access to the native stuff. So on the web, you have access to the website, the HTML page you're on. If you're on iOS, you can jump down to the Swift code, go back and forth, do a bridge that communicates back and forth, or make your own bridge. Use the one that's built in. There's all kinds of there's so many different ways of doing it. So how's the future work? I believe the KMP will have a big impact, but I don't see it replacing other cross-platform solutions like Flutter. Well, I am going to disagree here. I think it's going to replace all the cross-platform solutions. I don't think I know Philip looks into this stuff and he's been an Android developer forever, but I don't think he's gone the deep dive that I went in down to see that you don't need to even know how Swift iOS code. I don't know how that stuff works. I know a little details enough to get a window open and to access the APIs. But like, I don't know how iOS stuff works. I don't know, but I do know how KMP works, and I got a desktop app. So here, so yeah, it's gonna blow away all the other stuff. It's just it makes too much sense. So this is because KMP is mostly used by developers familiar with Android. That's true right now. As if this moment it's like desktop developers and Android developers who are like, what's this? And like iOS people are like, we don't care. We're not gonna do your dumb Android app. We don't want to learn Kotlin. We've already got Swift. It's like, no, we know Kotlin and we can just deploy wherever you'd like. So here's the thing. So here's the web app live view of the. So they've got this deployed for Android, the same exact app for this same app here. for for Android, for iOS, for desktop, for the web, for both JavaScript and WASM, so Safari. I don't think he's got the JavaScript target turned on, but it's easy enough to do. It's just another target. So here's the same app on all these different platforms. Same thing. So this is like a little simple application that shows off how this stuff works. All these animations all work. There's no HTML. There's nothing like that. It's Java. It's just a canvas container here, and it's just drawing its own, doing its own, composes doing its own thing here. There's just one big element. Now, there's another technology that was competing with this called Compose Web, and that will likely be deprecated at some point or ignored because you don't need to use HTML anymore. You got all this stuff already here. So, and it's still alpha. It's just all bug. It's okay. So that, and so you can deploy it on all these platforms. And here's the different libraries they were talking about. He was talking about here for the view models, and they don't have room in here, but they're using this KStore, which is it's just another database. So dependency injector, all the stuff you love. You don't really need to use a lot of the stuff. Coil for image loading. You don't really need to use a lot of the stuff with Compose. You could just use Compose, which I get into for all my projects. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, so that is how I feel at this time. Right at this moment, it's mostly Android developers like, hey, you mean I could just write Kotlin one time and it's gonna go to all these different platforms? And it's totally transparent for me to which one goes. Really? Oh, okay. Let's look at 1, 2, 3, 4. And with the desktop, you get Linux, you get Windows, you get Mac OS. Yeah. Although if you just target iOS now, as of like this year, you get desktop as well. So you can go desktop the two different ways. So it's pretty exciting. This has been a problem for a long time, and then you also get access to the native code too. It's with an easy. It's easy. It's not complicated. Weird. I was like, you gotta do a thing over here. It's like super fast to do to do that stuff. And with Copilot, with all the hints and the documentation level, at least for Android, for iOS, for iOS, I should say, the documentation, developer documentation is really great. Actually, way better than Android. But with KMP coming on, we don't have to really worry about too much of the Android stuff. Once we have these libraries built, we just worry about using Compose and Kotlin and use a library. And man, for everything you need, it's already there. All right, so I'm super excited about KMP, jazzed up about it, and this is just still alpha. Most people don't even know this even exists or how it works and how flexible it is. So we are early, but we're not too early. I already got stuff in the store, so I'm really excited about it. Like having one place to do all these different platforms. Okay. Anyway, I'm repeating myself. All right, I'll talk to you later.